You're listening to the Fan2Fan Podcast, and on this episode, we're talking about physical media, movies, comics, vinyl. Why do we love physical media? Why do we collect it? We talk about it. Here we go.
Amanda keeps going like, honey, you need to do something with all these movies. So if you talked about them online.
And then maybe Josh, because we're talking to Joshua Pruett on the Fan2Fan Podcast. Thank you, Josh, for coming on again. What up? And just to be fair, folks, Josh has a stack, shelves, no less, of movies behind him, in front of him, in his hands right now. Josh, if you keep talking about these, you never know. Some of these manufacturers might send them to you because they might like your thoughts about their wares, and your thoughts might inspire other people to purchase them.
I love when we dream big on this show.
You know, it's the only one we know. That's right. It's the only one we know. And the only one that we're hosts about, Pete. That's Pete Charbonneau. I'm Bernie Gonzalez. So we've grown up during the halcyon days of the 1980s. Spielberg, Goonies, slashers, all these movies that inspired, curated our childhood, made us the people that we are today. And I think the three of us, in our own ways, have an affinity for physical media. And I think a lot of people that listen to the podcast might relate. Their physical media may be in movies, in whatever format they may be, VHS or DVDs. They may be books, art books, graphic novels, what have you. They could be vinyl. Pete is an avid music lover and also has quite a number of vinyl. CDs have currently kind of come back around from my old days of having the, very fancy 6-disc CD changer in the trunk of the car that felt like the best technology could be. And now seeing Smashing Pumpkin CDs that I bought frivolously for maybe like $1 at like a secondhand store, now going as collectibles for $40 or $50. Physical media. I mean, because of our time on this earth, we've seen it go from VHS and the Betamax VHS wars of the 70s and 80s to DVDs, Laserdisc even.
Are you still just watching TV? Okay, yes, the VCR is great, but it's only the beginning of the story. Add a Pioneer Laserdisc and get ready for the best show in town. The world is at your fingertips. Advanced technology that glides on a beam of light. Hey, what about your kid's Nintendo? Where does he plug in? Wrap the action all around you with a Pioneer surround sound system.
It's a dream.
Or go for the ultimate and add the impact and power of a Pioneer projection monitor. Now you've got it all. The best picture, the purest sound, and the best show in town.
So Josh, let's just, before we kind of get started, let's talk about your relationship with physical media.
My amazing wife, Amanda, has helped me realize that I am a hoarder. And I did not know this about myself. And I have now discovered that when it comes to books, comics, and movies, I have no shame and will just surround myself with stacks and stacks of things that I love. So yeah, my office is pretty much a video store. So one side of it is all comics and the other side of it is books and movies and DVDs. Yeah, I think my first attachment to film really was probably VHS. So, I have a handful of memories of going to the movies with my parents, but like the overriding memory is like renting movies. And, we've talked about that a lot on this show. And we grew up in an era where there were like video stores at the grocery store.
In the mid-1970s, the VCR appeared. And like radio and TV,
the price was extremely high when they first came out, very unaffordable, only the ones that really, wanted them as the toy and to be the first one on the block to get them. But they were in the neighborhood of $1,300 to $1,600.
Fact is, VCRs have become relatively inexpensive, as radio and TV sets did. If you were one of the lucky ones to be able to afford a VCR when they first came out, then you also know that not many movies were available on videotape. In 1977, there were only a handful available. People who considered themselves in the know figured it was a passing hype. I'll bet they said the same thing about radio and television. Today, over 50% of the households have a VCR, and the numbers just keep going up. You can drive down most heavily traveled streets and you'll find a place, ranging from video stores, department stores, grocery stores, drugstores, convenience stores. There are now more than 25,000 titles available on videotape.
Going to the grocery store with your parents, you go, and you got to pick up milk, bread, whatever. And then at the front of the store, there's a movie area. There's literally a mini rental area. And like one of my best friends, Mike, and I had the same experience where I think it was in The Company of Wolves that had that amazing image of like the physical effects of the wolf snout coming out of the guy's mouth, and it just jacks you up as a 9-year-old at the grocery store. Nothing is safe.
There is something happening in the woods no man can explain, for it is here, beneath the souls of men, that the passions of the beast run wild. Here, that the childish fantasies of innocence come face to face with the nightmare of unrelenting evil. The Company of Wolves. The fairy tale ends when the wolves come out. The Company of Wolves. Rated R. Starts Friday.
Milk, bread, and Company of Wolves.
That's it, man. And it's on the same shelf as Hellraiser, and you're daring yourself to look at the back of that thing. I don't want to turn this over. It's going to freak me out. And then it did.
We have such sights to show you.
But yeah, so I feel like really film and physical media are kind of linked for me forever. My dad had a lot of movies. He had a Laserdisc player. That I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And he would rent them. He had that amazing, it was kind of legendary at the time. It was like I don't know, 3 or 4 discs of Cameron's Aliens and had the director's cut. And it's one of those things like, wait, what's a director's cut? Before that wasn't a thing. We didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, thanks to physical media, it's like we got exposed to all kinds of things about the filmmaking process. I went to Cal State Fullerton to get my undergrad and graduate degree, but I also joke, and I had a great time there, but I also joke, it's like the Pixar DVDs were part of my university experience because they went that extra mile pre-Criterion or Criterion style. Criterion was doing a Laserdisc at the time. Seeing the behind the scenes, that was everything. That was an education.
Hello, this is Robert Rodriguez, and I'm presenting to you the 10-Minute Film School. It's something that I would show at guerrilla filmmaking seminars at film festivals. People ask me, Mariachi, did you really make that for $7,000? How did you do that? And it's just so hard to sit there and try and explain it. It's much easier to show raw footage from the movie, scenes, what they looked like before they were edited, so you can see exactly how to put a movie together very inexpensively by yourself if need be.
For me, it's inspirational, it's research, literally and figuratively. These are time capsules, because I think, and we're going to talk about this, I know, but it's like, there's stuff that didn't make the jump to DVD. There's things that went from TV to VHS and then disappeared. So, and we're experiencing that with streamers too. But yeah, man, I am all in on the hashtag physical media. What about you, Pete?
I've talked about this before on the show. Like I wouldn't call it a love-hate relationship. I'm just way more selective with my collections.
What's that like, Pete? What's it like to be more selective?
What's it like? It's a good compare and contrast with a hoarder such as yourself. What I think it is that I've become in my advanced age a bit of a minimalist.
Oh.
I like the aesthetic of that. And so, I've got 2 laser discs on the windowsill in my bedroom. I hear For the Fog and Space Hunter.
From the alien wilderness of the future comes a warrior, Dojin the Finder. He will battle the forces of evil. For him, it's high noon at the end of the universe. The epic movie that challenges your senses is the ultimate 3D experience. Metal Storm, the destruction of Jared Sin. Rated PG. See Metal Storm at a theater near you soon.
Nice. They're like display copies. Those are just like display. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're the actual. Yeah. I don't have anything to play them on, but like I Sure. I found them in this little boutique shop in Phoenix.
Great.
I'm like, this is awesome. And I like the idea of having it as an art piece, a conversation piece.
Absolutely.
And like, I like what you said. Like, I use some of this stuff as inspiration too. Like, I used to collect so many books. I still have a lot, but moving around a lot, books get really fucking heavy. You know, at some point I had to unburden myself of many of them, but I still have a bunch. And a lot of them are, I guess, kind of coffee table style books on the history of factory records. One's Selling the Movie, which is all about like, you know, the art of movie posters and things like that. So it runs the gamut. There's one on like science fiction fonts in use. And, you know, so just stuff that's of interest to me as a designer, but that I also use as inspiration. So, yeah, I was thinking about it because, you know, I've brought this up before, but I still have this Dawn of the Dead VHS tape that I bought, in the 80s at some point through some catalog. And it's like, you know, well, why have I held on to this? And why have I gotten rid of so many of others? And for me, this was like, I purchased this with my own money. There's something that was like, I paid this for my money. I earned this. This has like sentimental value to me because it's like, I need to have this. I want to have this. I had the money at the time to buy it. And so I did.
Yeah.
Those are the type of things that like have stuck with me, with the things that I've held on to over the years that have made it through, I'd say at this point, almost like 15 moves in my life. So like, that's the stuff that no matter what, it's coming with me. And I have a lot of pride in that. And I was curious with both of you, is there some nostalgic thing of that was like a first VHS tape that you had to have that you bought, or DVD or whatever, or even book that like just that was like the one thing that might have kicked off your hoarding career, or just your love of collecting physical media? Like, you know, you mentioned your dad, Josh, that was collecting Laserdisc. Like, do you remember at a young age be like, was there a specific movie, like, not even that you want to rent it, but like, I have to own this?
My dad bought me my first VHS. It was Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Uh-oh, she just called the world's craziest ghost. Can you be scary? What do you think of this? Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice. And the ghost with most name. Beetlejuice coming soon to video stores.
That was like the thing that changed everything. And then, you know, there were a lot since, you know, then obviously, and it grew. But it was the thing I always liken it to is watching Men in Black and Tommy Lee Jones saying, well, I guess I have to buy the White Album again. And he's looking at that little disc. And so for me, it's the Evil Dead series. Owning that in crappy VHS, really nice VHS that you buy at Suncoast, crappy DVD, really nice DVD, Blu-ray, really nice Blu-ray, 4K, really nice 4K.
And don't forget, Josh, the probably now formaldehyde rotting Book of the Dead Necronomicon version.
I believe I have made a significant find in the Anchor Bay ruins. I have uncovered a volume of ancient Sumerian burial practices. It is entitled Naturan Demonto, roughly translated, the Book of the Dead. Bound in human flesh and inked in human blood, it contains audio commentary with writer-director Sam Raimi and producer Robert Tappert, audio commentary with star Bruce Campbell, Finalysis, an all-new 26-minute documentary by Bruce Campbell, Discovering Evil Dead, an all-new featurette on the film's fascinating history, behind-the-scenes footage and outtakes, and many other intriguing features. I urge you to alert the public of this Book of the Dead before it is brought to active life on March 5th, 2002.
I have it. I have. What about you, Bern? What was that journey for you like?
Keep bringing up the Dawn of the Dead VHS is kind of like a good cross-section of this, because this is like Goldilocks. If you have a lot more, Josh, and Pete has a lot less, I'm somewhere in between, because you guys can see right now, I probably have like maybe about like 200 or so Blu-rays.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, it's quaint. And remember, I grew up, and I mentioned it before, in a household where I wasn't allowed to go see movies. So going to college allowed me the freedom to go to a video store at a time when video stores were transitioning from cost-prohibitive cassettes. I remember going to buy Batman Returns, the guy behind the counter kindly saying that it would be $100.
$100
to own it, and me thinking, you've lost your mind, sir. No, thank you. Batman Returns is great, not $100 great. And I think there was this transition in the literal physical and physical media where you had discount bins of movies that had long gone out of circulation and were now $10, $15. And those became the cornerstones of my VHS collection that probably rounded out at around maybe 1,000 VHS by the time, maybe sophomore year of college was done. And at that point, I got introduced to DVDs. And because I worked at Best Buy, I was there when the Sony salesman brought in the first DVD player. Man.
This is DVD. And this is what happens when you watch DVD. It's a movie on a disc the size of a CD. The picture is twice as sharp as VHS. The sound is infinitely clearer. It looks and sounds like you're at the movies, but you can experience it at home. Not to mention, you can watch it in widescreen, listen to audio commentary, choose from features like director's notes, behind-the-scenes footage, trailers, and more. Watch a movie right on your computer. And rent or buy DVDs from these great Hollywood studios. DVD. See how good a movie at home can be. With over 3,000 titles to choose from, make sure you see your next movie on DVD.
But when you throw it in and you've got the surround system going at a time when surround sound and home stereo systems were becoming a thing, listening to Top Gun and not just watching it blew me away.
And you're just Kenny Loggins, right? You want to.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Loggins is in the soundtrack of my life, Pete, 100%. Yes, I am perpetually on the highway to the danger zone all the time, every day.
Tower, this is Ghost Rider requesting a flyby.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
VHS, DVD. I'm glad you brought up the Laserdisc, Josh, because I was working with a lot of cinephiles, people that were kind of part of that cult almost of Laserdisc that felt, and rightfully so, that the format was superior to VHS.
Yeah.
And even when DVDs came out, the argument versus Laserdisc and now DVD to the CD versus vinyl conversations were happening. This guy who was super kind, he dropped off a VHS copy of The Thing with all the special features from the Laserdisc. And at that point, I had never seen John Carpenter's The Thing.
Wow.
And the movie blew me away. But at the end, again, I always appreciate his kindness. He added every special feature that was available that he could get on there in EP mode on the VHS.
Unreal. What a gift.
Talk about film school. Devil's Rejects, every Pixar, Blade. That was probably one of the first benchmark DVDs.
Benchmark DVD. I agree.
Yeah, you just knew that, like, whoa, you can put this much in the behind the scenes.
And they super cared. They obviously cared. Yeah, I love that you brought up the cost thing, because I have vivid memories of that being like, oh yeah, how much of this? And it's like 100 or 125 sometimes. And then it's like, what I wonder, maybe Disney and maybe Media Home Video, the one that they purchased from Charles Band, but it's like they had kind of invented sell-through. So that was where it was cheaper. I want to say Disney was an early adopter. You get those VHS to families at home, right? Those big old clamshells.
Makes sense.
But like the previously viewed tape thing, that was also huge, right? They're $5 and they're whatever.
It's not the future we wanted, but the future that happened. Once a great city, now a high-security prison, designed to keep society's criminals in. But now, everything rides on getting one person out.
The survival of the human race, Briscoe. Something you don't give a shit about.
Kurt Russell stars as Snake Plissken in John Carpenter's science fiction action classic, Escape from New York.
You go in, find the president, bring him out in 24 hours, and you're a free man. What if I'm a little late? No more Snake Plissken. When I get back, I'm gonna kill you.
And now, Escape from New York is available in a special director's edition from New Line Home Video. Featuring an exclusive interview with John Carpenter.
It's both our fears and what we would like to have happen. I think we'd all like to have a guy like Snake on our side. And perhaps we'd like to have a police state. But it's the thing we fear the most, too.
Including never-before-seen footage with the original theatrical trailer and the original feature digitally remastered. New Line Home Video is proud to release the director's special edition of Escape from New York, starring Kurt Russell in both widescreen and full-screen versions. Escape from New York, available now for only $19.95 from New Line Home Video.
I know I've told the story before, but like when I was working at Blockbuster, folks would bring in those widescreen VHS tapes and they'd go, "Oh, it's broken." And I'd be like, "No, it's not broken. This is the director's preferred vision of the, no, I want a different one." I was like, "No, that's pan scan. That's not as good." But the gift of that is no one rented the Escape from New York special edition widescreen with an interview with Carpenter at the end. And so I got to buy that and take that home. And that was the first time I saw that movie, was when I was working at Blockbuster, 19 years old, 20 years old. And it was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And this interview is so cool. And then you're like hooked. You're hooked into that, all that behind the scenes stuff, because that's like gold. I remember The Thing too, like Suncoast Motion Picture Company. They had those, widescreen editions with like holographic borders on the covers. But it was $35. It was a $40 VHS. I think I sweated that for, 18 months, trying to save up the dough for that.
There was that line of, remember Fox? They were in the black clamshell with the gold border.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Fox had, like, Independence Day, I remember. I'm not sure why this is being released along with, like, other Fox classics, but at the time, it was a modern classic, and Suncoast, Barnes & Noble, Circuit Cities, Best Buys, they all carried it. So it was much easier to find. I think because you mentioned Charles Band, so I just want to step back a little bit there, Josh.
Hi, I'm Charles Band, and I want to take all of you back about 33, 35 years, maybe 36 years, which was pretty much the dawn of the video business. So back in a little history, back in the late 70s, maybe 77, 76, 77, this whole idea of a video cassette, which back then was the Betamax, a format that's now extinct, was being talked about. And there was a fellow who is known as the godfather of the video industry, Andre Blay. And he felt, since a beta machine was coming out at that time, that people would want to pay $50, this is back 35, 36 years ago, to watch a movie at home. So people thought he was kind of crazy, because who's going to spend that kind of money? And he went and he licensed 20 movies from 20th Century Fox, amongst them, I think it was Patton and some of those older, well-known Fox films. And those first few releases were coming out that year. I read about it, and being a collector of just about everything, I thought, what an awesome idea. And of course, I believed that this would be huge, because I used to have a 16 millimeter and other ways to screen movies at my house back in the day. I was in my mid-20s. So I thought, well, I know how much pleasure I get from watching a movie at home, which, remember, nobody back then was doing. This did not exist. This is pre-internet, pre-everything. If you were interested in a movie, you either had to wait for it to come on late-night TV, if it ever did, or maybe see it at some revival house, or if it was a current weird-ass movie, you would go to the local grindhouse movie theater. But the idea of, at whim, at your call, being able to see a movie did not exist.
The entrepreneurship in him understanding that there was a burgeoning home video market and taking advantage of it. And then I'm just guessing some accountant at Disney at some point said, hey guys, these kids are coming to the theater to watch the re-releases of Bambi and Little Mermaid.
That's it. Pinocchio. And yeah,
they're buying these and they're watching the age out of it. So why don't we just start making these more available to the parents, start promoting them as re-releases during the holidays, make them gifts that they can think of front of mind.
Every time you watch a Disney video this Christmas, something magical happens. So full of enjoyment and wonder. It's the one Christmas present they'll want to open again and again. Give a Disney video and make the magic happen.
In the research I did, just looking at some of it, like Donnie Darko, Fight Club, 99 2001. Donnie Darko grossed only about a little bit over 500,000 in its initial theatrical run. And anyone that's listening that's probably very thoughtful and well informed about this also knows there's like a Venn diagram with Donnie Darko and 9/11. So there is obviously a reason why it had a limited theatrical run and interest, but on DVD, it reportedly made over $10 million in sales.
Yeah.
Fight Club, David Fincher not afraid of packing his movies with tons of special features because he understands the film school of it all. Let's throw everything on here and kind of create that next generation of Robert Rodriguez's. That movie comes out in 99. Modest box office performance, sells more than 6 million copies, generates over 55 million in video and DVD rentals. And then again, the thing in Blade Runner, it's been released in every format.
Yes. Multiple versions.
The suitcase version of Blade Runner with the origami unicorn, all of this stuff that regardless of VHS, DVD, subsequent different formats, they just thrive. They just survive because they're just good movies first and foremost. But I think people like us, as we adopt and we evolve in, I'm going to now upgrade my Blade VHS to the Blade DVD. And now I'll get the Blade Blu-ray. We just keep kind of moving along with the formats.
Yeah, well, and I'm convinced it's like that financed movies. The VHS and physical media boom moving into the early 90s, it's like the money they were making in the 80s financed movies in the 90s. There's so many things that we wouldn't have gotten.
This July, MCA Universal Home Video will terrorize you with 2 new thrillers. First, just when you thought it was safe to put your feet back on solid ground, Tremors strike. Run! With over $15 million at the box office, it's bound to be a monster hit on video. Get ready for Tremors.
Doing research on, the Tremors movies, those sequels came from Tremors doing great on video. There's an executive I worked with at animation who happened to have got his start at Fox, and he was working in their home video department, and he started doing the math on like how much money the Predator and Alien films were making just on disc. And he pitched to his bosses, I guess at some point, he said, look, if we do this AVP movie that people keep threatening, here's the number. We can't lose because just on home video, we're going to get this, right? Whatever that ridiculous number is. Even the theatrical box office doesn't even matter. That's a bonus. We know on rental and DVD. I mean, it's like, I'm desperate for that world to come back because that's how we got so many other swings. That's how we got so many other at-bats at some of our favorite genre series.
These steel-jawed beasts have a hunger for destruction. Can they be stopped by the ultimate galactic hunter? Predator! Battle is on. Aliens versus Predator, the hunter against the beast. An alien killer crab attacks, but the Predator crab tusk fires shoulder-mount missiles, and Predator scavenge attacks with a double-barreled bola, each sold separately. Will the Predator win the battle against the evil aliens? Aliens versus Predator! Now get a special 2-pack with an exclusive Dark Horse comic.
On some level, there's lots of reasons to mourn kind of the retreat of physical media, but I feel like the number one thing is there was just more stuff being made, right? So you've got more people cutting their teeth on straight to video. We could spend another 8 hours talking about Full Moon and Charles Band again because I'm obsessed, but it's like that came out of a need where these places needed content, right? Movies. They needed movies for their shelves. So the fact that need has up and vanished. There's just less stuff. It's not even that there's less good stuff. It was a shotgun approach. And that meant we had more filmmakers. We had more people taking chances. We had more people being creative and thinking outside the box. That's one of the things that kind of kills me about it. And I've lost sleep over this. It just meant more stuff was getting made and they were making money. So the people who wanted to make money were making money. The people who wanted to make movies could figure out how to make a movie and sell it. And now it's like, it's the opposite. It's like a vacuum. That's one of the things that's so tragic, and I think why I'm a hoarder.
And I don't know if you guys utilize I think they're still around, but I know a lot of their stores have closed. But for me, growing up on Long Island and having access to New York City, Tower Records,
oh man,
the best gateway of not just getting the physical media, but getting the physical media that you couldn't get at Blockbuster, that you couldn't get at Suncoast. Yes, it was like opening a completely different world. Like if you wanted Gojira without English subtitles and you wanted the original Japanese version, you could get it there. You couldn't get it anywhere else at that time. And it was just like mind blowing to like have all that stuff that would be imported from other countries that were just lined up. And like every time I walked in, it was almost like, you walk through the door and it's like, ooh.
You hear a heavenly choir.
Give 'em movies from Tower. Hundreds of movies are on sale now. Just $17.99. Toy Story. For just $14.99, Independence Day. Twister. Mission Impossible. The Nutty Professor. Cops Too Hot for TV. And James and the Giant Peach. For just $13.99, GoldenEye. Carry home the savings from Tower.
The one in the Valley and the one in Hollywood were legendary. Like, they're literally in movies.
Right.
It was like Valhalla for physical media folks.
There's also, I think, something about people that might be listening that may, because we have like a good cross-section of like a physical media collector, we kind of represent someone that may have issues, Josh, undiagnosed or otherwise, and someone like Pete that might be a bit more Spartan-like.
I think Josh has got some great personal growth going on here. Like, that's right.
That's right.
DVD. See it. Buy it. Own it. Watch it once. Watch it twice. Spend hours watching extras beyond the movie and enter the world of stars and directors and the magic they make. Build a collection for the family. With over 9,000 movies to own, it's the most convenient way to watch a movie. DVD.
I think there's also the other piece that, like, whether or not you kind of identify with, collecting or buying physical media, I think the piece of it too is like there's so much to like the tangibility of it. There's the film. You mentioned, Pete, like the laser disc that you have. Like, you don't have a way to play them, but there's something about the artwork. I don't think that's so dissimilar from people who display and frame their vinyl albums, because the artwork on that is amazing, usually custom, especially now in kind of like the nostalgia collector's market, where you have limited editions. So there is something about the things as objects. So I'm going to throw out a few different things to you guys that in my research, other kindred spirits have mentioned in why physical media is still a thing for them, and I think maybe for us. So start with the first one, which is just the basic idea of ownership. You talked about a lot of those movies at Tower Records and Suncoast. The one thing we saw, especially with Shout and Scream Factory, they were licensing films in order to release them as special editions. I don't know how many versions of Army of Darkness I've owned throughout the years, but it's been an army's worth of Army of Darknesses.
Bernie, you and I have been in an arms race to own as many Army of Darkness versions as we can.
Yes, 100%.
Ash took a weekend trip through time.
To the pit with him!
He was trapped.
Look out!
Slapped.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
And kidnapped. But they couldn't make him join.
How do you stop it?
The Army of Darkness. From the director of Darkman comes Army of Darkness. Rated R.
That's right. Give me some sugar, baby. And with those releases, the licensing's changed. Like, sometimes you get someone who does a great job in curating, re-releasing, upgrading the release. Other people, looking at you, Mill Creek, just do a half-ass job. But in the end, just that idea of like, for as fleeting as it may be, permanence. It's on your shelf. You control it. If you want to watch it tonight, you don't have to pay Amazon to watch it. You don't have to hope that a streaming platform that you subscribe to has it available. You can grab it, dust off your DVD player, and play it. Ownership.
Yeah, I mean, it's golden. There's so many movies that Amanda and I have been able to expose the kids to at different stages of as they're getting older, because I could go and grab it. There's so many wonderful kind of gateway science fiction or gateway horror or things that are just a little bit creepy. And, we're not trying to expose the kids to too many things too early. But the idea that there are things that they're not going to be able to enjoy, things that were really influential for us and really important for us to be able to share that with my family, that's like the whole thing.
I wonder, Josh, since you have kids, what is their relationship to physical media? You can grab a movie that you and your wife may want to share with your kids. Do they just grab a movie off Dad's shelf because it's something that they want to watch?
Oh, I've spread the disease. Yes. So my son just got the Lego movie, the first Lego movie. It's one of his favorites in 4K because he really loves being able to put it in the DVD player and watch it when he wants, because he, when the mood strikes, or because he has experienced times where we're trying to find something and we're literally moving from this service to this service to this service and we can't find it. It's not there. And again, the maddening thing is like the license expired last month and we didn't know. As much as hoarding could be unhealthy, maybe for some people, not me, but for other people, it might be unhealthy. To me, it's crazier the hoops that we're jumping through just to share things that we love with the people we love. For me, that seems like a madness.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, some of it also comes down to, it says something about your personality, right? Like it's like a shorthand to, these are some of the things I like. Someone comes over, they check out your shelves, and whether it's books, DVDs, CDs, whatever it is, they can get a measure of the type of person you are, the type of person you're projecting out to be, like, hey, this is what I'm into. I'm really psyched about this stuff. And like the physical stuff that I've made a point to buy over the years is a lot of stuff that really imprinted on me as a kid. Like I've got all the Planet of the Apes movies on DVD.
CBS Fox Video has seen the future, and it's not good. Journey to a time when man and beast have changed places. A time when Earth has become the planet of the apes.
How in hell did this upside-down civilization get started?
The only good human is a dead human.
We came from your future.
The mere fact of your existence will be regarded as a great threat to mankind.
Guns are power.
It's one of the most unique science fiction series ever. Now, all 5 films are being offered at a new low price. Venture into the intriguing world of the Planet of the Apes collection.
Oh, yeah. Because I grew up with that stuff. I just pulled this because I haven't taken them out in a while, but going back to Tower Records, when I was living in Boston, Dark Horse did like a reprint of like all the original Marvel Star Wars comics, and I collected these as a kid.
Amazing.
And so when I saw this, I'm like, oh my God. And the Tower in Boston was going out of business at the time. So I got all these on a discount. There's like,
that's gold, man.
Yeah. It's the entire original Marvel run. And I used to have a lot of the single issues, but again, like over time, I lost a bunch of them. I'll still have a couple, but if I ever want to go back and read, some of these goofy stories with like a green rabbit, I've got it here at my fingertips. And so this is like a prized piece of physical media that I own.
Well, it's like what John Waters says, like you go to someone's house and they don't have books, they don't have movies, like don't have sex with them.
I mean, look at this place, man. You got to see this through the eyes of a woman, What is she going to think when she comes in here? Oh, look, he's got a billion toys.
So what?
And more video games than a teenaged Asian kid.
All right. Tell me what I should do.
Okay, we just take everything that's embarrassing and we move it out of here so it doesn't look like you live in Neverland Ranch.
You go to someone's house, you get a sense of who they are by what they have. But I think it's probably fair to say, like, the physical media you buy, whatever it is, for me, it just happens to probably be films along with books, but mostly films, that you kind of typically don't buy that type of physical media for other people. You're buying it for yourself. And I think going back to something you said early on, Josh, the idea of like a time capsule, some of the movies that I own that are literally on the shelf behind me only mean something to me at a certain point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something about being able to grab that movie and watch it that takes me back to that place, to a memory. It's time travel. There's something kind of neat about it. And
it is.
Part of that is also being able to not depend on a streaming platform when I want to maybe feel a certain way or have a certain memory, because that movie, that scene, that musical cue takes me there. And I think that's one of the other comments I found that I think makes sense is, the volatility of platforms like quote unquote content as a service, that here are these movies that we've grown up with at a time, again, where we had some really cool shit that we grew up with that made a big impact on us. And when we want to watch some of these movies, there is a little bit of a subscription fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
You have to own so many subscriptions to so many platforms just to have a fighting chance to watch a movie that you've probably already seen a dozen times, but you just want to watch one more time at 9:50 p.m. on a random Wednesday. But now you're stuck with the algorithm and licensing, and if you can watch that movie for free with ads, or if you have to pay for it.
It's out of our hands, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the thing I think a lot of people talk themselves out of, or how they criticize collecting, it's like, oh, it's nostalgia. So nostalgia has kind of taken on the connotation as negative, largely. Obviously I'm motivated to refute that and be critical of that. But I think because it's not about that. It's about connecting. You're connecting with this piece of art. You're connecting with this piece of cinema. You're connecting with something that people, in some cases, either put their heart into or just wanted a paycheck. But it didn't matter because it connected with us when we saw it. So much of the work you guys have done on this podcast is like, hey, let's shine a light on the fact that these things connected to us regardless. And then on top of it, it's like Ratatouille, right? You're connecting to a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. And like you said, it's time travel.
Ratatouille? They must be joking.
Life's short. So it occurs to me that us being connected to who we used to be, who we want to be, and other people who like the things that we like, that adds richness to our lives. That's not nostalgia. That is, for me, that's equipment for living. That's what these things are. Because they're stories, and we're kind of attached to them. Because that's the thing that's so rad, right? Like some of the stuff that we've talked about on the show is like, you can remember when you saw it. You can remember what you ate that day. You can remember who you saw it with. That's your story. That's part of your journey. That rules. And the idea that some other company is going to control that and regulate our connection to each other, forget that.
Whether you're experiencing this, hopefully with other people in your life, people that you care about, people that you love, like this is, I know for me, like there's certain films that I'll throw on, like The Elephant Man, David Lynch. Like I sob like a baby at the end of that film every time.
Yep, every time, man.
That movie it hit me at a certain point in my life, and it still does. I mean, it's just incredible what it says about humanity. But like I've told so many people in my life that I care about that it's one of my favorite films. And it's like, it's more than just like, I need you to know that this is a favorite film, but it's like, I need you to know why this is a favorite film. And I would love to experience it with you so that you can.
I would love to share it.
Saturday afternoon matinees aren't what they used to be. To begin with, kids don't have to go to the movie theater. They can bring the movie home from the rental store. Kids get the movies from the horror section of the video store. Most of the violent movies are rated R and aren't supposed to be seen unless you're 17 years old. Others are made directly on videotape and bypass the rating system altogether. Video store owners say the movies are usually in their top 3 rental categories. Kids say it more simply.
On Monday morning, the biggest attraction is a kid that's seen one of these disgusting movies of the weekend. And, I mean, in incredible detail. And then this guy takes his drill, all right, and he goes and rams it right through the guy's eye. And everybody goes, and he's got a big crowd around him.
Yeah, that's the connection that it all seems very fragmented right now.
It does. And all of it seems designed so that we're not connected.
Yeah. Which maybe makes physical media that much more important, because then at least it's something tangible that you can get. And I think maybe another piece of it, the last thing I'll bring up that's like a good factor that I saw kind of mentioned quite a few times, and I think this is beyond the maybe obvious stuff like video audio quality and special features, which are, kind of part and parcel with physical media, is the fact that one thing you can't get with digital content that doesn't get replicated with downloading MP4 or streaming something is cover art, packaging design, box set, shelf display, all this stuff, the physical, actual, tangible stuff that makes a collector's edition, a limited edition, a steel book, whatever it is, like Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, all these companies that release these now sometimes out of print titles.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can add them to your collection, you can just grab that disc. There's something, again, just tangible, something physical that you can have for maybe something that's very connected to something very emotional. That poster that spoke to you in the lobby of a theater when you were a teenager is now the reversible cover on a Scream factory release. I have found so many times where like I'll grab it, I open it up and I'm like, I appreciate that they got an amazing artist to do this. I may flip it to the original poster because that's the poster art that spoke to me.
Yeah.
But having that option in the first place is part of the physicalness of physical media.
And the joy. And the joy of it, right? So it's tangible, but then there's other artists participating then. There's other people who love it even more maybe than we do who are participating and who, are advocating for commentaries or behind the scenes, like it's a gift. It can really be a gift.
And it's good sidecar to the movie that likely spoke to you in the first place that kind of motivated you to add it to your collection, to your shelf, because you want more. You want someone to speak intelligently about the movie. I also want sometimes somebody to not speak intelligently and just say, this thing fucking moved me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, me too. And it's just kind of neat to see that, let alone seeing the director talk about, here's all the things we had to do in the research, in the storyboards, in the production of the movie. Because now, the reason we podcast, we love some movies so much that we want to ride sidecar to the YouTube unboxing and analysis and screen by screen breakdowns because we want more, because that thing moved us. It made a difference to us.
Yeah.
And that's connection again, right? Because
that's connection.
You're discovering, whether it's on YouTube or wherever, you're discovering other people that, like the movie just as much, if not more, and they're motivated enough to like tell you about it and maybe give you some nuggets that maybe you didn't know about before. So like there's that connection there. Like, okay, well, here's another person that thinks this movie is totally rad. And isn't it cool that they made a 45-minute video on, on Final Exam.
Final Exam, the 80s forgotten slasher.
How many fewer podcasts would there be, good or bad?
Yeah, well, that's a topic for another day.
So much of it is like people talking about the things that they love and connecting about the things that they love. And it's like when it's physical, we can hand it to friends, we can share it with other people. That's awesome.
So, Josh, the only unfortunate thing for this is that you'll have to tell your lovely wife that this conversation was probably less of an intervention and probably more inspiration for you to keep buying a stack of Blu-rays to add to the stack.
I think we all need Peacemaker on 4K. I don't know anyone who doesn't need that in 4K.
I have quite a story about Peacemaker that I can't share on the podcast, but I will share with you guys one day.
Off air,